what we're going to do on this tab is we're going to set ourselves up to be fast, set ourselves up to have as much speed as possible. Okay, you can't be too fast at this. You can't be too good at it. You can't be too error-free using this software. Okay, so the Alt keys are really the keys to the kingdom. The Alt keys are the hotkeys that are going to overlay all of your potential menu commands. Now, you'll notice on my screen, I don't have the full ribbon showing, and that's just to give myself a little bit more room for the presentation. But another way to look and see the screen is the default, which is to show that ribbon, right? And you can show that ribbon by doing on PC. All these keyboard shortcuts are PC, just to be clear. Control F1 is going to show or hide the ribbon, okay? And when I have these keyboard shortcuts oriented vertically, that means you actually press these keys simultaneously. And so I'm going to hold down Control, and keeping it held down, hit F1 to then suppress the ribbon or to hide the ribbon. But above the ribbon, I can't draw on this part of the screen, but above the ribbon where you see the file name, there is an opportunity to place commonly used commands so that you can get to them even more quickly than with traditional keyboard shortcut. Okay, so you give it a special code in essence, right? And so I'm going to do Control F1 to show the ribbon. And one of the things that I use all the time in looking at spreadsheets is trace dependence. So I'm on the Formulas tab, and trace dependence is something that I use all the time. And so if I wanted to get there just normally, right, I can do Alt M and then D, but I can get there with actually one less keystroke. And anytime you can reduce the number of keystrokes, it's a win in my book. So how do we set ourselves up for this? Well, you're going to hover your mouse over the trace dependence button, and then right click and let go. And you'll see the little menu that pops up shows Add to Quick Access Toolbar. Okay, and you will left click on that. And now, if you look closely in the very top border of your application, you should see the mini icon for that. Okay, and I always also pair that with remove arrows because I like to visually show the arrows and then I like them to go away. So the next one that I'll do is remove arrows. Right click on remove arrows, add to quick access toolbar. And now when I hit Alt, you'll see not only do I have the regular hotkeys that are overlaying the ribbon, but above that, I now have my special hotkeys as well. Okay, and so Alt 3 would show dependence. Alt 4 would make the arrows go away. And you can put as many things as you would like up there, quite frankly. It's more limited on Mac, unfortunately. But for PC, this is a good time saver. And so basically, whatever that number is, you just do Alt, let go, and then you hit that number, and you've accessed that shortcut a little bit more rapidly. And any increase in speed without introducing an error is a win because it's all cumulative. All the time that you save is cumulative. All the time that you lose is cumulative. To validate that is you hit your F5 key. Okay, that's your go-to menu. F5 and then click Special. Okay, and that's a screenshot of the actual menu. And what you want to do is you want to set this to what the screenshot is showing. I want to choose constants, but I only want to choose constants that are numbers. So I'm going to uncheck these three boxes. Okay, so you want your dialog box to show as I'm showing here in the screenshot, and now I have a match. And even though these checkboxes aren't sitting directly below that constants radio button, it applies. Okay, it's just old design, and they've never really updated it. But these do apply. So I'm basically saying Excel, select for me, when I hit OK, select for me all of the constants on this worksheet that are numbers. Well, what is that? Well, those are your inputs, right? Those are your inputs. And so if you look, -1 in its own set of parens, and then I'm going to want to put a stop trigger here. Okay, and I can do the stop trigger at the end. I could also do the stop trigger on the front. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say if I'll set this up at the front. I'll say if the month number, delta 47, is greater than delta 43 anchored, then just return a zero, right? Just push it to zero. If I'm beyond the point of the sale of the building, I'm not getting the rent anymore, so I don't want to show that rent stream. Let's talk about how you can mess things up. And I've done all of this, okay, multiple times. I've made all of these mistakes. And so I'm giving you a list because I don't want you to make any of these mistakes. Okay, so first is something's extraneous, right? So I accidentally multiply an annual value by 12. So it's already annualized, and then I multiply by 12. Or, and this one is just terrifying, when I'm solving for my sale valuation on exit, I accidentally grab 13 months of NOI instead of 12. Okay. Oh boy, that one is really, really tough to recover from. You can also do the reverse, which is you incorrectly capture only 11 months of NOI instead of 12. Okay, that's one of the forms of there's something missing in the formula. I'm missing the 12th month essentially. Or I need to divide by 12 like I did in that past example, but I forget. Okay, that's when something is missing. Okay, we really can't trust them all until we have vetted them all. Okay, so this is the workflow that I go through when I do auditing, consulting engagements for clients, and on my own work. You have to know absolutely everything about the file. Okay, so if on every sheet of this file, if there's any hidden or grouped rows or hidden or grouped columns, you need to expose them. If there's any hidden sheets, you've got to unhide them. If there's any links, you need to either break them if they're irrelevant or make sure you understand where they're tracing back to. Okay, this next one is just potentially terrifying. And this happened to me a long time ago, where there were times you'll have labels which are a little bit vague. You don't really know, well, what do they mean by this? Is this annual? Is it monthly? And so sometimes labels aren't consistent with the data. That's something you'll also want to do. And then just kick the tires a lot, right? Make changes to inputs, lower the cap rate, raise the cap rate, make the growth rate on the rent 0, make it negative, make it positive, and so on and so forth. Does the model react in the way you expect it to react? How does it behave? Okay. Increase the length of the tax abatement, zero out the tax abatement. Does the NPV change in the right way, and so on? Another way to do it is run the same property cash flows in a trusted model. So drop that same deal into another model and see if there's any major differences. Okay. Another thing that I do all the time when I'm doing any sort of projection is I'll just do a quick column graph. So you select the area and then do Alt F1, and it's just going to generate this quick column graph for you. Okay. Visually, mistakes are probably going to stand out to us more so in this graphic format than they do just numbers going across a row. Okay. And then if you say, okay, yeah, that's exactly what I expected it to be, right? And what happens if I change that to 0, right? Check columns. These are really key. If you're doing a development analysis, you've got a budget. Your job is to spread that budget out over time for these various cost categories. Okay. Carry your total columns here on the left. Don't carry your total columns out to the right. You're never going to look at them. Okay. In addition, create a check column right here, which deducts the projected total from the budget. If you can scan your eye down your check column and you see all zeros, you know you're in good shape. Okay. Here's a way that you can do sort of belt and suspenders. Not only will it show you that there's a value other than 0, but you can write some basic logic, which simply says, if the check is not 0, tell me something, okay? Alert me. This is why Excel is so dangerous to work with. It's so treacherous. Is Excel, unless you program it to protect you, it will not protect you in most cases.